Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome. Welcome to Cosmic Truth Reverence, experiencing your infinite self. The Cosmic Truth Conference is gathering a unique panel of leading edge New Earth visionaries who will share heart opening and soul elevating wisdom to dive deep into our multidimensional realities, embracing our star origins and embodying our amazing divine humanness. We are invited to gather in reverence to the infinite truth of who we are and experience our sovereignty as galactic humans, elevating our planetary consciousness, together ushering in the new golden earth. Thank you for being here with us. I am Ana Sharia, host, and today I'm very excited to be here with our guest, Jesse Herman. Hi, Jesse.
Hi, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. So, let me share a little bit about you. Jesse JP Herman is the channel through which the non physical entity group Vagrein communicates with humanity. Over the past decade, she has embarked on her own spiritual journey and is now devoted to serving others by bringing Vagrian's wisdom to life. In addition to her channeling work, Jessie is a pranic healer and life coach dedicated to helping individuals and groups amplify their authenticity and pursue self improvement. She had authored two channeled books in collaboration with Vagrian. Jessie is also the creator of the Gist Planner, a practical life management tool designed to help users organize and enhance their daily lives. She hosts the Some Kind of Mystic podcast, which features interviews, channeled wisdom from Vagrian, audiobook segments from her Vagrian's book, EFT tapping scripts, and various life-changing tools, tips, and tricks. You can also find Jessie on her website, which is jpherman.com. So, Jessie, today we'll be discussing your topic, which is self-acceptance. So, to begin, could you start by sharing your definition of self-acceptance and why you feel it's so important at this stage of our human journey?
Absolutely, I'd love to. Through working with Vagrian, through working with this channeled entity that brings through this wisdom that, I personally don't have direct access to aside from when I'm channeling. Originally, a lot of the messaging was about unity consciousness and how we're going to move from separation to unity. And over time, that was almost turned out to be an introduction, an introductory aspect of the how to get there. And Vagrian has been offering more and more and more and more frequently information that the way to unity is through our own unique individuation. It's through deep and radical self acceptance, understanding that each individual human being is divinity incarnate. And as you embrace and step into your own divinity, those desires that you have, they're leading you to the gifts that you have. Those things that are coming through you that are even quirks or in, you know, strange little aspects of your personality, they're all really as orchestrated and as miraculous and as mathematical as, those images when you see like the fern unrolling its leaves into the forest in the night, and we really are that beauty. So messaging from Varian is half and half now, pretty much, which is, this is unity consciousness and where we're heading and what we can hope for, sprinkled in with law of attraction and things like that. But my main goal in terms of my life coaching is to escort people into that radical self-acceptance because it really is the doorway and the practical tool to saying, well, how am I going to live in unity consciousness? And that's really what that I'm passionate about now.
Right, and so it's really a key aspect of ourselves, getting to love ourselves and accept ourselves. Actually, is it the same loving and accepting ourselves? First question, and also, can you tell us, maybe give us hints on how to cultivate this in our daily lives?
Sure, absolutely. So It's difficult. Let's be honest about the trials and tribulations, all the times when we were children, when we were told that thing you're doing is not right, or that thing you're doing is dangerous because it doesn't fit in with the current situation, or that thing you're doing has never been done before, therefore it's probably not a good idea. Whatever it is, even if it's just laughing too loud, right? We've got a lot of conditioning, a lot of things to unpack in ourselves before we get to the space of self-acceptance. But zooming out and taking a step back and beginning to identify more, like lots of people talk about their higher self. They say, my higher self wants this, my higher self wants that. But when they're saying that, they're still very much identifying with something that they feel hasn't achieved that sort of level of understanding and recognition. But if you can zoom out a little bit and begin to see the human aspects of you as a movie you're watching, as a character in the hero's journey story of life, as a being that you truly want what's best for, then you can start seeing all of your conditioning or patternings also in the way that it has been serving you so far and begin to take sovereignty over, well, okay, that protective mechanism helped me until I got to this age, but actually now I want to shift to something else. So you tend to come to a space where you can begin to, through acceptance first, going, there is that mechanism, come to a space of going, okay, there's this mechanism, and I have free will, and I'm a divine being that gets to choose. And even if I mess up 10 times on the 11th time, maybe I will get over that pattern or whatever it is. So it's a lot of compassion. I think more so than self-acceptance, we have to start with self-compassion, where we go, okay, there are things I don't like about myself, and that's okay too. It's I have to accept that I'm where I am on this self-acceptance journey first, and then begin working towards seeing yourself really as that like delicious little character that you actually are. And I really believe this of everyone. Like everyone's got this absolutely delicious childlike, because ultimately our entire species is very childlike, nature to them, where if you can see it from that distance of like, how is God seeing this thing? Everything becomes just so adorable and lovable and understandable that you can kind of go, okay, I understand why, let's say, someone's afraid of relationships, right? I understand it. It makes sense. You got hurt and now you feel a little bit guarded against people, but you truly want relationships. So, okay, we understand it. And also, you're brave. Also, you're strong. Also, you're courageous. Also, if you've had your heart broken once, you can have it broken 1,000 times. You're going to survive that. It's okay. And beginning sort of to really be gentle with ourselves, I think, is the starting point.
Mm, yes, absolutely. It's being gentle with ourselves. But then once we get also to this position of observing ourselves and taking this step back, how can we maintain this self-acceptance once we cultivate it, once we feel we have the gist of it?
Yeah.
Can we maintain it and against, well, the reality that we live in, the daily life we live in, pushing back?
Yeah. I think that the answer to that question, and it's a question I get asked all the time, is experimentation. Because until you start experimenting with being yourself in life, you only are going, the information you have is based upon fears. It's based upon what other people have told you about what that looks like and what happens. And I agree. When you do step into your true self and you step into this is actually who I am, things happen that will both reflect that sort of past belief of this is dangerous, and other things will happen that are like, oh, this is really good. But what I've noticed, both for myself and for my clients, is that it becomes addictive because you get more of those. Actually, I'm getting what I want now than you do of, oh, here's the setback, or here's the scary thing, or here's the whatever it is. And so, again, a gentleness with the experimentation. What happens if today, when you meet with your friend that you always meet with and they always talk over you or whatever, you decide to do something completely different. You decide to do what feels right for you. Yeah, that friend might vanish from your life. Let's be honest, right? But the truth is, there's probably a good chance that that wasn't, a holistic relationship for you, or it wasn't serving you in the way, like if you felt bad every time you met with this friend, then that is also the universe's way of going, okay, well, that's not for us anymore. And now something else will come in. So it takes that courage. And I think people can do it with baby steps. I think the thing that people are most afraid of is that they have to jump completely into that full, okay, I'm going to just be me. And they don't have a frame of reference.
Mm.
The baby steps will really give you that chance to train the muscles, to get stronger at it, to get better at it. And then you find like, yes, people do go out of your life, situations go out of your life, but lots of cool new things come in too. And those new things, they belong to you already in many ways if you've been authentic. Whereas the things that maybe you had and you were holding on to, they weren't that wasn't really your life anyway, because it was you pretending to be someone else, living someone else's life that attracted those things in the first place. So there's that transition phase. I'm not going to lie, it's not, the easiest thing to do, but I've also learned that it's the only thing to do. Because if not, you truly are living a life that's not yours. And that is just such a shame, I think.
Mm. Yes, and so it feels like we are spiraling up because
Yeah.
the more and more we get rid of those situations, those people which are holding us back, sort of, well, we raise our vibration, we feel better, we feel lighter, and we also ripple out, don't
Yeah.
we, to the collective. Is that what you would say, and how does it happen, in fact?
Well, it can happen. We can talk about it in terms of metaphysics or like be mystical about it, but we can also talk about it just simply on very practical levels, right? If you're in a space, let's say you're a people pleaser or you're living an inauthentic life to you and you truly want to, I don't know, you want to go and you want to travel around, but everyone's always told you, no, that's not safe for a woman on her own. Okay. So you don't go, you don't go, you don't go, right? But the truth is that you not being you is definitely going to attract something that's not for you. Whereas, had you gone and had that adventure, yeah, there would be challenges that come with that. But the people that then would be magnetized to you, and this is simple logic, are the people who like a woman who's going to travel on her own or who, appreciate that or think that that's admirable, not the people who are critical of it, not the people who are judgmental of it. So, when you're yourself, you automatically have more opportunity to get more of what you want than you would do if you're playing it safe, quote unquote. Because playing it safe, let's again back to the metaphysical, on an energetic level, is going to attract more of that same mundane
Mm.
flat line of a life, which, yeah, you might have a nice couch and popcorn and the partner that you're familiar with. You might have a lot of things that are okay, but you're not ever going to have that life that has the giant adventure of the growth and of the expansion that I think many of, the people who are watching this are really after. They want that juicy, how much can I squeeze into the very short linear timeline space I have to experience everything? And the truth is, you're going to die anyhow. Like that's according to what we set up for ourselves. That's what it's looking like, right? So there's no safety really. You're never going to get safe enough for that not to be how the story ends. So in the meantime, not saying go paragliding if that doesn't resonate for you, but if it does, then there's something in that for you from your soul speaking to you, from divinity speaking to you. And you should really pursue those things that are in your soul.
Mm. So to wrap up on this, it's really listening to our inner voice and acting on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Aligning more with who you are inside of yourself than the character that you have come conditioned to be playing, basically.
Mm. Right. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, this is a journey of a lifetime.
it is.
I mean, for us, maybe for the young children, of course, they are different, and
Yeah.
they are already snapping. I mean, don't have this weight, don't they? I mean, they
Yeah,
are
not as much. Yeah, definitely this new generation's different. Yeah.
don't need to work so much on this. So anyway, I'm sure our audience would love to know a bit more about Vagrian. Can you tell us more about this entity? I think it's a group, I think.
Yeah.
And Who are they and why are they coming now at this time and why are they coming to help us?
Yes. Yeah. So Vagrians, again, it's a non-physical entity group, but that's sort of a shorthand way of explaining something that we don't quite understand. It's just the easiest way to define that. And their reason for why they came through is that because we are calling for them and messengers like them. We're calling for this wisdom, and every time you ask for something, it needs to be delivered. As we've been asking for this wisdom to not necessarily come through from like regular Joe or Mary or, you know, whoever, um, we've set ourselves up for channeled messages, right? Because maybe if, your friend is telling you exactly the same thing, you're going, "Oh yeah, who knows what that is," right? So channeling is one of these types of methods of this type of information to arrive to us. And so they actually don't exist outside of when they're being channeled, except that they exist in the all that is. So it's not like they go off afterwards and they're going onto a spaceship or you're having a cup of coffee or something like that. They're really a reflection of what the asker or what the collective is and what information is being called through. Why do they come? Again, because of that asking. So they are a manifestation of our desire. And because we're now in our timeline story, at least the collective timeline story, in a space where a lot of what many of us have set up for ourselves in terms of the storyline that we've wanted to have. And that is quite a heroic storyline, at least that we're attempting, right? So we're like kind of attempting to save the planet, right? Or save humanity or whatever it is. Um, we also added into that storyline these guides in many forms, guides in the forms of either channeling material or even in music, in art, in nature, in just the expression of all these beautiful things that resonate with our heart centers. So reflections, rememberings that there is this knowing already. And anyone who speaks with Vagrian will say like, well, yeah, it was great to speak with them. And it feels like something shifted, but it also almost feels like I knew everything that they had said before we even talked. And like it was such a deep resonance that they were saying things that somehow I already knew, because they're not predicting any futures or anything like that. But so they came through, they started coming through about in 2019. So it's not even that long that they've been coming through. But the message has been consistent to unity consciousness and that self-acceptance we're talking about. And they really are guiding and preparing the guides, right? So the people who resonate with Vagrian's messages are people who are service to others people. They're not looking for solutions for their own lives. They're looking for the how do I get to a point where I can help others? Or what is my purpose here? Or what is my calling? What am I supposed to be doing? And Vagrian will set them straight with you get to choose. You really get to choose. Any way you want to be here and show up is really the correct thing because again, it's that listening to your own inner compass of your soul knows why it's here. So yeah.
I love it. I love the way that you explain that they are here because we called them and because they are a reflection of us. Can you maybe unpack this for us a little more?
Yeah, so I don't know, like a lot of people have studied non-duality teachings. I studied them a little bit as well. And my understanding from that perspective, because like reality is like a layer cake, you got everything in between, right? There's all the flavors and it's all like this can be considered higher than that, but it's not any different because you need the whole thing, whatever. So in non-duality teachings, you're literally creating the illusion around you. You're the projector. And so, from that understanding, from what I understand from that, Vagrein can't exist without each and every person projecting that outwards to, let's say, their whatever they see as me as the human being a channel, right? And simultaneously, from my perspective, um, they are simply a part of the projection field that I'm creating in my reality, right? So it's really interesting when you think also of like the layers lower down, the more human layers, and you go, well, if that's the case up here, it must also be the case, even if something is concrete or physical, even if something seems to be completely external, it's always internal. And the way that they express that or explain that is they're dealing with both of those realities. So they never disregard matter or our human understanding or linear time. They say, okay, yes, for you, that is absolutely accurate, and that is what exists, and that is your felt and experienced experience. Also, everything you experience is through your own senses. So even if you're touching a table, you're not touching a table. So there's like a lot of that going on around the way that they explain what they are. And in that fact that they can only be called through by the will of something, a lot of really interesting things can happen on like the coincidental levels. It's like they're outside of our frame of understanding of what is reality. They can pop through time and like it's not even a they at that point. It's just existence simultaneously exists when I've transmitted a message, let's say. And then I had someone contact me like 6 months after I transmitted something. It was on YouTube. I'd forgotten about this message. But in the transmission, someone had no, right in the middle of the transmission, Vagrian had stopped and went, "The popcorn is ready," which is very weird. Okay. Like, and continued, just continued. Like, not, no, nobody asked questions about that. It just ended and like it was left in. And this person contacts me 6 months later and they're like, Vagrein just saved my house from burning down
Mm.
because I had popcorn in the microwave. I got distracted. I went to watch the video. And then out of nowhere, they said the popcorn is ready. I remembered, I ran back to the kitchen and the bag was about to catch on fire in the microwave. And I was like, okay, so like that makes no sense, right? But it's because that person from a future time and space had called back in reality to this entity that somehow knew that they would be listening 6 months down the road and that that would be the perfect unfolding, maybe not even to save their house from a fire. I'm not even saying that, but to make that person have whatever they needed from that experience of having this synchronicity. So it's really very interesting some of the things that occur, and it's definitely fun to play with. But I've learned to just go, I have no idea. I don't know what's going on.
Oh yeah, it's really fun. Yes, what you're describing is very exciting because well, it's to do with all those multiple timelines that we live in, and it's very exciting, and because we are stepping into that, aren't we? And maybe okay, you told us about the general messages that Vagrian shares about unity
Mhm.
consciousness and I mean the foundations, so to speak. But maybe is there another message that you would be willing to share today, or
Yeah, sure. We can do a small channeling if you'd like, but I also want to say that, Vagrian, before they came to the self-acceptance part, first they delivered that entire channel book, the first one, which is Seeking Ends When Sharing Begins, which actually covers multiple topics that are the themes of humanity, whether it's health or relationships or money or raising children. I mean, that book is really very organized into categories, and it was almost like a manual of like, here's the starting point of our teachings. And so everything then refers back to those same human themes. So it's very common. Now we're also moving into, they've been offering for some time support, or they've been they've been transmitting about sharing support for the changes that are coming.
hmm,
And so we're in those changes because they started talking about this way even before sort of the pandemic type of situation and stuff. They were already talking about eventually transmitting for the transition we're in. And this is ramping up now to the
hmm,
point where there's going to be definitely much more information on how does one stay in their joy, in their sense of abundance, in their sense of connection with others, while everything is kind of seeming chaotic for a period, and the things that we're wanting are rearranging themselves. Because as you know, if we're wanting something, we're also inviting in the catalyst that is required for that to manifest because we're slow. Humans are slow. If tomorrow we woke up and we were all in Eden, we'd be like, where's the fun? Like what we missed the movie. It doesn't make sense, you know? So we're looking now at this space where we're going into more of the arc, the more accelerated arc of that particular movie, and how to hold on to your sense of who am I? Why am I here without buying into the fear and the worry and the, oh, it's the end of the world. No, it's what we asked for. And we can have the grace to move through that in joyful, connected, loving ways, or
Mm.
be exposed to our own conditioning and move through it that way. So either way, it's fine. But
Mm.
this is something that's coming up more with their teaching. I'd be happy to do, I guess, like a 10 or 15-minute channeling. Good now to you. We are pleased to be meeting with you in this fashion and are eager to discuss with you and your friends anything you so choose to know more of yourselves. Hello.
Hello. Well, thank you, Vagrein, for coming in. Um, I would like, if possible, to delve into what Jessie was sharing about the fact that we are we are calling this wisdom that you are sharing with us, and that we are in sort of way the manifester of this wisdom. Can you elaborate on this, please?
Yes. So you cannot experience anything that is not already within your field of attraction or your field of experiencing. This does include any new information you come upon. There is no such thing as coincidence, and there is no such thing as something occurring outside of yourself. Therefore, and we use ourselves as an example, but it does apply to everything. Therefore, every experience that you are ever having is already within your creative field of creation. You have already put both the good that you judge as good and the negative that you judge as negative, neither are either, they are both neutral, into your field. So as you are walking down your staircase, you are creating the steps. As you are walking into your garden, you are creating the bird on the fence. Similarly, our transmission in this now moment is being created by your own energy field as you go along. And the reason for it to be created in the particular format that it is being created in other words, from this space of seeming to be external to human capabilities or seeming to be external to the wisdom that you as people generally have, is because you are now ready for that wisdom to be able to be accessed at all times by each and every one of you. However, you are in a transition period so as to be able to trust that wisdom. You do indeed already have everything we could possibly tell you within your reach, within your own individual experiencing reach of what is the wise thing or what is the loving thing, because you are all human beings that do have access to your souls or to the non physical aspects of you. That non physical aspect of you is the equivalent of us, no matter what, because we are the non physical aspect of all that is. Everything that is does have the energy that is of the nature of what you are now experiencing with this particular messaging coming through this particular individuation who happens to be a channel in some ways. As you come to a new phase where each and every one of you can recognize that you already are all channeling everything already, you will no longer need the portion of the storyline in which there are what you call channels now. You will all have a space where you are in direct communication on a moment to moment basis with faith, because that is the key, to a higher wisdom that is motoring you. That higher wisdom is that which beats your heart and allows you to breathe as well. But you often doubt it because you are moving from a space of separation consciousness to unity consciousness. Within separation consciousness, you have a belief that your human beingness is separate from your what you call soul or what you call anima or what you call your higher self. They are not separate. It is the same thing. Your human beingness is the manifestation in form of that particular frequency energy. There is nothing wrong with it. It is divine as anything else is, as that leaf. And the vessel did give you the example of a fern. The fern is divine, and you are divine as the same isness that motors both of you. The fern has the advantage over you, however, in that it does not judge itself. You, as a human being, have chosen the story or the challenge to come in and to have also the ability to judge yourself. It is quite a fascinating game that you are playing. And so enjoy that particular game. Does this clarify?
Wow, yes, it does. There's a lot, a lot that you shared. Thank you. But what I've just picked up is this notion of playground and play.
Yes.
Is this how we should live our life to move forward and to accelerate, if we can accelerate something in our evolution?
Yes, well, you certainly do have a much better time of it if you do decide that this is a game to play. You will, however, even if you, and this is the interesting thing in terms of deciding that it is a game. Many say, well, I cannot take this all lightly because very serious things are happening. Yes, we agree with you. Very serious things from that perspective are indeed happening. Do not fear, however, that if you choose to live your life lightly, that you will not have emotions. You will certainly have emotions because there will always be things that are not to your preference, always be places to align more with yourself, always be things to expand through and into. So why not do it in a way that feels good to you? You are not going to become cold, you are not going to become in danger because you decide that life is a game to be played. It is a game to be played. That does not mean you will not be compassionate. It does not mean you will harm other people. It does not mean all of those fears that you have about choosing that will come true. You still have many aspects of you that will not allow you to go around killing people, even if you decide it is a game. So, when we say life is a game, many say, no, it is much suffering. It is hard. It needs to be serious. I need to do this, that, and the other thing. And then we would say to them, that is your prerogative and that is your free will to choose to do it. We, however, if we would want to feel better most of the time, would choose that game aspect.
Mhm. It's very, I mean, I'm looking, it's very fun. I mean, it really, you transmit such a fun energy now that I feel it's really bubbling and lightheartedness. And is this also linked to the acceleration of the universe we are living in? Because, okay, we create everything, but do we also create the universal energies?
Yes, you do in many ways. You are creating on multiple levels because you are multidimensional. So you are creating, for example, the environment you find yourself in, the colors that you see, the sounds that you hear, etc. And you are also creating those grander things. We would say, however, that from a human perspective, which is more important is the one that is in your direct experience, because that is what you have decided as an individuation to focus on in this now moment. That is why also we tell people do not detach so fully from your human life. That is where your playground is. That is your sandbox with which to play. And as you focus more upon the details of what does this human life want to feel like or be like or seem like, or what am I healing, or we do not like the word healing particularly because there's nothing wrong with you, but what am I going to enjoy evolving through and with? That is where your personal power lies. And you can then, yes, very easily and far more easily than the other way around, influence the entire universe.
Mm. And so, where do we stand? Where would you say that we stand now as a collective in this journey?
As a collective in this journey, you are now at choice points. We would transmit, would share that for each individual that chooses
Mm.
to be aligned with themselves, to chooses to be in love, chooses to be in light, chooses to be in service, that is all you need to do. You
Mm.
are offered the entire buffet of existence in this now moment and offered very, shall we say, offering yourself very aggressively everything that would prove to you that a choice of love is the erroneous choice. If you have the courage to choose love, regardless of your fear, regardless of safety, regardless of all of the things that are being offered to you, well, you have already won because that is really all you came here for, was to see how much of the storm can I weather and remain true to who I am, which is love ultimately. And so, if you simply choose beforehand, automatically you avoid much of that storm. But as that storm arrives, you already know what you are going to do. Every time someone says something frightening to you, you can confidently say, okay, thank you for the offer. I choose anyway to be love. Okay, thank you for the offer. Anyway, I choose to be love. And that you continue down that road, you automatically free up your energy that you would have invested in fear, or you would have invested in trying to protect yourself, or you would have invested in some other way to all of the wonderful things that you want to create in your experience. Energy is a resource. Your energy, if it is invested in love, multiplies. If it is invested in anything else, diminishes.
Mm. Wow, thank you.
Thank
Is
you.
there any parting words you can share with us? Any words of wisdom to conclude?
Yes, we would share with you that you are wonderful beings, that you are on the right path, no matter what path you feel yourself to be on. For those of you who currently hear that particular sentence and say, yes, but my life is not what I am wanting, well, then that is good news because you have realized that you are in a position in which there is much that you can change and take that faithful step towards knowing that you would not have been placed here by the universe, or you would not have placed yourself, more accurately, here by the universe without the instruments to be able to create the life that you are wanting. Yes, things can be difficult, but you survive difficult. You have survived every day up until now, and not all of them have been pleasant, have they? And so, as you move forward, know that you are that hero, and you can in each day, even with difficulty, even with tragedy, even with horror, move to the day in which there is more joy. And with that, we do augur for you to live in that state of joy. And when joy is not available, in that state of faith and the light and the love of 1,000 suns. Anai.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vagrian. Thank you for this wisdom, and thank you, Jessie, for sharing with us,
Oh,
for being a conduit. Thank you so much.
thank you. I hope it
Oh,
was
wow.
nice.
So to conclude, we will refer to the free gift that you are
Yes.
offering to our audience. You are offering the key teachings of Vagrian and
Yeah, a
exert.
bundle. It's going to have some, well, chapters from the book, free chapters from the book in PDF version, and then some audio files and some really nice things that I think you'll enjoy to have as part of this offering.
Wow, that's great. Thank you. And maybe you would like to share on any new programs or any new events coming up.
Sure. So, we still have a few spots left for the Vagrian retreat, which I'm holding in Italy in from May, I believe it's 14th to 18th. So that's coming out really soon. And we're getting together in this beautiful space, a little town in Italy, just like we did last year with those thermal springs that jump up from the middle of the town. And we'll be having Vagrian transmissions, having community connection, eating gorgeous Italian meals because the restaurants are just exquisite, even going on wine tastings and all kinds of things. It's really a very special event. So I'm really excited about that. And I also have monthly question and answer periods where people can come on and join with Vagrian and ask their questions directly. And we always have such a lovely experience with those as well. So do check out the website for both of those offerings.
Oh, well, wonderful. That's very exciting. Thank you
Yes.
for sharing. And thank you again for being here with us. And to the audience, thank you also for jumping in.
Yes.
See you, everyone. Namaste.